Okay, so Daniel and I did something a little crazy, and I'm about to tell you what we did. Driving in the car, going to get something to eat for dinner, and randomly he looked over at me and he said, "Hey, so-and-so is having a baby. They're thinking about putting it up for adoption. What do you think about us adopting it?" And let me tell you, I was like, what? Like, are you serious right now? Is this like a really conversation we're about to have? Are you like serious? Or are you just playing with me? And we know the mother, you know, we know the situation that she was in, and Daniel recently just stepped down from his full-time job to a part-time job, and I'm still working full-time, so we were really trying to grasp if this was something we could actually financially handle. And so that next week we met with a lawyer. I talked to a bunch of people from my work that have gone through the adoption process, gone through the fostering process, and really just tried to get as much knowledge and support as possible, because we weren't really 100% sure that we wanted to do this. You know, this is a big deal. Like, adopting a baby, like becoming parents, having our whole lives change is a big deal. At that point, we all thought that the baby was going to be born in November. Well, let me tell you, the birth mom went to the doctor that same week that we were talking to the lawyers and my employer, and, you know, just getting our bearings on the situation. The birth mom went to the doctor and they said, "Oh, by the way, the baby's due date is October 26th, but we're actually going to deliver her on the 19th. Surprise!" And also, it's a girl. Yay! So we were super excited that it was a girl. Super excited that she seemed healthy and everything was going good. And really nervous that we only had 3 to 4 weeks to prepare for a baby. Plus, get the birth mom to agree to let us adopt said baby. And Daniel, even like for a good, and honestly all the way up until like 48 hours after the baby was born, Daniel was still telling me, "Hey Alyssa, there's still a possibility that the birth mom could change her mind." Like, I had the baby in my arms. I had Copeland in my arms at the hospital, and Daniel still told me, "Alyssa, there's still a possibility that she could change her mind," which there was. And that in itself was crazy, because try to make all these plans and try to make all these schedules and get all this stuff organized, and then still not be 100% sure that we were going to actually have her is hard. But again, on the opposite side, really understanding the harshness of the birth mom's decision and the selflessness of that decision, and really the overall weight of her decision, is hard to comprehend and hard to understand as well. So, going back, about the first week or so, second week of October, we got the yes, okay, I am okay with giving you my baby from the birth mom. So all of a sudden, Daniel and I had to really flip the switch and be like, whoa, we're gonna be parents soon. And if you talked to me at all through that 3 to 4 week process, you knew how much I was crazy. I'm telling you, you asked me about it and I would just start crying. It was like I was having pregnancy hormones, but it was just anxiety. And I didn't know how we were gonna have diapers, how we were gonna clothe her, how we were gonna get a crib. Like, we didn't have any of this money saved up. Daniel had just quit his very good full-time job at our church. And 3 to 4 months later, we were adopting a baby. Like, what? Like, really? Really? Like, God has a sense of humor. Let me tell you, he has a big sense of humor. There was a lady at my work that said to me over and over again, if it's God's will, it's going to work. And you're going to be shocked at how it works. And she, looking back now to that conversation, that first conversation I had with her, like, she was so right. Within those 2 weeks, while we waited for Copeland to be born, between the place that I currently work for, our church, a place that I used to work for, friends, family, we had every single thing we needed. Literally, Daniel and I have spent nothing on Copeland. It has been by the love and the graciousness and the kindness of our friends, family, co-workers, everybody, that we've been able to not be financially stressed out about having a baby. Boxes of diapers and formula and clothes and towel, like everything from from cribs to changing tables to dressers. Like, it's been an absolute miracle how all of this has worked out. And I keep going back to that conversation I had with my friend at work. If it's God's will, it will happen, and it will shock you how it happens. And I have been so shocked. Not only the material things that you need for a baby, but also the financial part of adopting a baby. Of course, since we didn't have to go through an agency and pay $40,000 to $60,000 for our baby, we still had to pay something. We still had to pay the lawyer fees, the attorney fees, the family county court fees, like all of these little fees that add up. With my work, I was able to pretty much make part of my stipends that I get go towards my adoption fees, and the amount of money that I had set aside for that for this year literally paid pretty much to the penny everything that we had to pay 100% for the adoption fees. Like, just looking over all the things that have happened, like, you can't tell me that God isn't in that. You can't tell me that his hand is not in that, on our family, looking over us, looking over Copeland, and you can't tell me that she wasn't destined to be our child in that. Because, like, look at all these things that have fallen into place. Look, like, I'm gonna do a nursery tour at some point. But looking at all of the generosity, all of the love that was shown to her within a 2-week time span, like, it blows my mind. Jumping forward, I did manage to get a few videos in the hospital whenever Copeland was born, but before I show you her, let me explain the birthday process. I called the hospital to see if we were going to be able to get a room, because sometimes with adoptive parents in hospitals, you can call the floor and say, hey, I'm adopting so-and-so's baby, and if y'all have any rooms available, please put me down on the list, kind of thing. And when I called the nurses, they were like, oh, we don't really do that. Like, it was just kind of a back and forth. They didn't know if they did that or how that was gonna work. So I got a little nervous that we weren't going to have a place to stay, or that the baby was gonna have to be put in the nursery and us not be able to be there with her for the first, few days until she was discharged. So I was in a panic. After that, we just waited at home, and we waited and waited and waited and waited until about 6:30ish. And that's when we were called saying, hey, everything's moving along, water's broke, come on, she's about to be here. We're like, okay. So we waited from like 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. It was in an insane, rainy, cold, gross day. You excited, Daniel?
It's exciting, yeah. This is so fast. It's so fast.
And it is now 6 p.m. to give you an idea of what our day's been like. But it's actually been a pretty decent day on our end. I feel bad for the birth mom. You know, that's a long day of waiting.
Yeah.
But we got to be home and it's raining, as you can probably see. But we got to be home in Phoenix all day, just lounging around. Daniel put on fire. Just a very restful day. And now,
super rainy.
Hopefully we get to go meet our daughter. That's very strange to say.
Yep.
It's very strange to say.
Yeah. We're about to be parents.
You're about to kill us too.
We're about to be parents.
Oh, that's so weird. Oh my god. I can't even deal with this. That's strange. I know they say you're never ready, but I don't feel ready. So Dino and I drove to the hospital, checked in, and still had no idea if we had a room or not. So we packed all of our bags, we had all of our stuff in the car, and we just left it there because we just didn't know what was gonna happen. So we went upstairs, got all checked in, sat in the waiting room for a little while. I did not want to be in the room. I really don't even think I was offered to be in the room, which was okay. I'm good. I don't want any part of that. So we were sitting in the waiting area for a little while, and then all of a sudden a nurse came out with a bracelet and she said, hey, I'm looking for an Alyssa. I was like, oh, that's me. And she said, okay, here's your bracelet. We're about to go to the nursery. And like there was this wall here in the waiting area where you could see but you couldn't see. And all of a sudden when I went over to her and got the bracelet, I looked and said, oh, is that her? And she said, yeah. I said, can we see her? And so she was all wrapped up in her little blanket and her little hat, and she was just looking around, and I saw her. Daniel came up and saw her. I was in just complete like shock, and tears started welling up in my eyes. I looked over at Daniel. His eyes were all bloodshot and red, and it was just, it's amazing how quickly love comes, you know? It's amazing how such a small human, such a small little human can bring so much warmth to you. I was the only one with the wristband, so I went with the nurses with Copeland to the nursery, and I got to sit there and watch them clean her and weigh her and get her nice and warm, and I got to hold her little hand and just see her and look at her and just look at this life that we were about to be responsible for and how much weight that had in it. And it was just the most amazing thing in the world just to see her. And then she was so small. She was born on October 19th, 2019. She was born at 7:50 p.m. weighing 5 pounds 12 ounces, and she was 18 3/4 inches long. So she was a teeny tiny baby. Neonatal nurses, y'all are the bomb. Like, they took so much care of us that first night. I was talking back and forth to the nurses saying, you know, I don't know if we have a room, and they're like, oh yeah, y'all have a room. I was like, really? And I was like, yeah, no one told you? I said, no. No one told us. So after they got her all cleaned, they got her up to the temperature that they wanted her to be and then warmer. they took her out, bundled her all up, and wheeled us off to our room that we stayed in. And we were across the hallway from the birth mom, so we got to see her a couple times while we were there. With adoptions, at least in our state, the birth mom has 24 to 48 hours, depending on if she's on pain medication or not, and if she had to have a C-section, to sign away her rights to the adoptive parents. So within those 24 to 48 hours, you know, the birth mom, she still has all the rights. So she still, if you're going through adoption and wanting to know about the process, the birth mom still has the choice to keep the baby with her. She has the choice to let the adoptive parents have the baby like we had. If she wants to have that baby in her room until she signs over her rights, that is her right to have the baby in her room. Daniel and I just were really lucky in the sense of Copeland's birth mom wanted us to have that time with her, I think. So she said, yeah, they can have the baby or after she's born. I don't want her in my room. You know, let them have her. And that's how we were able to get our room and how we were able to have her with us ever since she was born. And within that 24 to 48 hours, we were still in that limbo state to where we didn't know if she was going to change her mind or not. We didn't know what kind of thoughts were going to come up, what kind of the hormones that you have after having a baby. I mean, it's a big deal. And she had every right to say, yes, I want to keep her now, which would have been devastating to us, but you can't blame a mom for wanting her child. So that was all just, it was so emotional, and that's really the hardest part of adoption, I think. Whether you, from all the stories that I've heard and all the people that I've talked to, whether you know the mom or not, that's still a hard reality to swallow for the adoptive parents. I can spend all this money, I can get all this stuff and have this whole nursery set up, but if that birth mom wants to keep her baby, that is her right to keep her baby and not give it to us. On the flip side, how brave of a decision and how brave of a choice and selfless of a choice it is to give your baby up for adoption to a family that will love and protect and, you know, care for your baby. It's just, it's an amazing process. And we've always wanted to adopt. We've never tried having biological children. We may, but honestly, we may just adopt again. I don't know. But it's been an amazing experience all in all of how all this has transpired. So I know that you are sick of hearing me talk and want to see the baby. Let me go get her. And here she is. Copeland Marie. She's like, what are all of these lights around me? I will be doing a 1 month video with her to let y'all know her stats and what she's been up to for this first month. But now that I am out of work, I'm hoping to get some videos to y'all to let y'all see our new baby girl. And thank you for listening to our adoption story. Make sure and hit that subscribe button and like this video to see more of baby Copeland and our family and our adventures of watching her grow up. She has literally been one of the best things, besides Phoenix, that has happened to our little family. So I hope that you enjoyed our video and all the cute little pictures and Copeland's birth story. And we will see you guys next time for her 1 month update. Bye. Say bye.